He's without a key too. That's good.
Yeah. Are we ready?
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready. I will call the Monday, July 17th, 2023 Lions Board of Trustees meeting to order. Deputy Clerk Marquez Rubio, can we please have the roll call?
Mayor Rogan,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Farrell,
Present.
Trustee Elson,
Present.
Trustee Daddy, Trustee Edding,
Present.
Trustee Delman, and Trustee Williams.
Present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll read the land acknowledgement. We must acknowledge with respect as non-native people that the land on which we stand, live, and learn is the traditional territory of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll take a reflective moment of silence. I'm thinking about the folks who are experiencing catastrophic floods on the East Coast. Okay, thank you, everybody. So now is the time for audience business. Hello, come on up. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
I am Emerson Sturgis and my address is 217 Woodstock.
Thank you, go right ahead.
We must address climate change. It could cause economic losses of as much as 22.5% by the end of the century. One good proposal is a carbon fee and dividend policy. In a carbon fee and dividend policy, a fee is charged on greenhouse gas emissions and the money is given back to the people. It will significantly reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. It is progressive as poor people have a lower carbon footprint, so they pay less fee, but they receive the same amount of dividends. The dividends are also taxable income, so poor people get more money from them because they pay a lower tax rate. I am part of an organization called Citizens Climate Lobby. We support the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, a carbon fee and dividend bill that was introduced in the 115th, 116th, and 117th Congresses. In the bill, a fee is collected on fossil fuels based on the amount of greenhouse gases they emit. The fee is $15 per ton of CO2e to start and rising $10 per ton of CO2e annually. The money collected is given back to the people as monthly dividend payments. Additionally, a carbon border adjustment is charged to put foreign producers on the same playing field as domestic ones. It will put us on track to cut our emissions in half by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. The net benefits of $8.64 trillion. It will boost employment and have a net positive impact on GDP. Our congressional district has 42 endorsers, including Longmont, Daily Camera, 1908 Lansing, 300 Sons Brewing, and Christopher Larison, the mayor of Netherlands. Thank you to the mayor and to the town board. Will you endorse carbon fee and dividend?
Thank you very much. We don't usually respond to audience business. But I'll tell you, we haven't considered this, and if you wouldn't mind emailing us your comments, that would be really terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the Board of Trustees tonight? Okay, I don't see anybody online, so we will close audience business. Is there a Boulder County Sheriff's report?
I was expecting that Deputy Sears would be here, so I am not sure if they've had an emergency, but he didn't leave me with anything in writing.
Okay,
So I don't have anything in it.
okay, great. Then we'll move on to staff reports, the administrator's report, please.
Thank you. Just a couple things going on with summer being here now. Want to let you know that we were awarded an $11,000 grant from Boulder County toward economic vitality. And so that's going to, we wrote that to go toward our wayfinding signage and parking signage and strategy, and there's no match required for it. It has been, our wayfinding request for proposals has been posted on BidNet. So that should be awarded yet this month. Hopefully we'll be bringing it back to you for your first August meeting. Also, if the board tonight sees fit to allow the LAHC to do another mural on the north side of Town Hall, CEMEX is interested in donating $5,000 toward that. The limb pickup started today around town. And it will be today and tomorrow. I have noticed that there's been quite a response. So if it has to go one more day, it might, but right now it does have very specific guidelines, so people are still trying to get those out there. Which it was supposed to be in place by Sunday because they will only do one sweep through town. If they've been through your neighborhood, they will not be back. And want to remind the public that Laverne Johnson Park is going to be closed to Planet Bluegrass for their reservations for Rocky Grass Festival. That they will be leasing the site from July 26th through July 31st for Rocky Grass. And let's see, other activities will be coming up August, September. The only other thing I wanted to mention was that as Emerson knows, Boulder County has added a midday route to the Lions flyer, at least through the summer months, and then they will be reviewing it. So we will have a midday service to Boulder through the end of August, and then it will be reviewed. We do have a couple of utility updates. Oh, Aaron's not here. That we got a little later. Aaron it was great that he was able to take a little vacation. So we do have an update from him in regard to two items that I'd like to share. Sorry. Maybe not. I may have to send those to the board separately, I guess. I thought he was going to be here for that. Oh, here it is. Here it is. The bulk water system is up and running on the new pricing schedule and on a code-based system. We are still working on the credit card system, but if someone has an account here and has been given a code, they are able to do the bulk water 24/7. So that is up and running. We have been contacted by Crown Castle that they are going to be back in town starting on August 1st to finish the installation of the cell towers between here and Estes Park. We have one left that's within the town limits, and it's on Main and 5th in front of the train car as you're leaving town. So that's the last one they have that's within our jurisdiction. However, it is in public CDOT right of way. It is not in the town's control of where it's placed. And we did have Enline in town. They did a full inspection of the electric line this last few weeks and have been out and inspected the 30 sectionalizer cabinets between here and our substation. And they found one concerning connection and out of 180 connections. So that's pretty good. So they are going to be making some necessary repairs to try to be proactive in the electric outages. And other than that, we are also part of Means cybersecurity assessment pilot program. We're involved with to try to help us in proactively with cybersecurity issues as well.
Questions for Administrator Simonson? I have a couple.
Okay.
Is there a date for the 4th and Main remediation to begin? The Tamburello building?
Oh, we don't have an exact date yet.
Okay,
What they said was they were hoping that it would start before the end of July.
okay,
They have gotten all their approvals. And we're trying to work on the cost estimate with the company.
will there be traffic closures? Like, do you know how that's?
No, they're gonna
look?
try to do it off of 4th. So
Okay,
there may be some closures on 4th, but there should not be on Main.
okay, thank you.
And they are planning to, they have to remediate the low grade. They found asbestos even in the foundation. And so, instead of leaving it an open site with a fence around it indefinitely, they are going to be filling it. So that if there's a use by the public or a private company of that corner, it could be used temporarily.
Okay, thank you. And then do you have any staffing updates for the open positions?
We to date have not received any applicants for code compliance yet. So we will probably be changing our approach to that and trying to get it out there further. We did advertise it on the code compliance network that they have, Indeed, and the town and CML,
Mhm.
but so far have not received anything.
All right, thank you. Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, we'll move on to ordinances and public hearings. Tonight, we have the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 1150. An ordinance of the town of Lyons, Colorado, zoning property at 109 County Road 69, Lyons, Colorado. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor Rogan, Mayor Pro Tem Farrell, members of the board. Yes, this is the second reading for the rezoning of 109 County Road 69, also known as the Mark parcel. There have not been any changes prior to the first reading. There has been a little bit of discussion with Mr. Darcy and some of the neighbors regarding that are adjacent to the property that live on County Road 69. I did inform the two gentlemen I spoke with, Mr. Darcy and his neighbor, that once staff, upon approval of the rezoning, that we will work alongside them with the social trail development and definitely take any ideas that come forward and work with the neighbors and try to keep everybody happy. And that is, as far as updates go, there was nothing further than that. And everything still stands that we would like to rezone it for rural residential and parks and open space.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Planner Pager?
There was a question in the last meeting about, I don't have the wording in front of me, the little round.
Yeah.
Turnaround that Boulder County wanted to maintain. I think we had some sort of a question about that.
Well, lead planner Ken and myself, he's got me in touch with Boulder County. I'm in the talks now. I was trying to hopefully obtain it. We can annex that into town as well, so it'll be town owned property.
Okay.
But we're in talks about it right now. We got something moving, but nothing's indefinite.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions for Planner Pager?
So you're saying that could be annexed as well? Would that be a separate annexation then?
That would be, yes, sir.
That'd be a pretty small, wouldn't it?
It would be the same process as the Martin parcel, being under 10 acres, the town on land. If we get it granted to the town line from Boulder County. And so we're at the early stages, but we're definitely trying to. Move
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, then I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody in the room who'd like to speak to this topic? All right. Deputy Clerk, do you see any? Oh, I see someone. Hi
there.
Doug, go ahead. Hi,
Hey,
please
it's-
state your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, Doug GRC, County Road 1069. And I really don't have any more comments. I guess, you know, as far as what I've spoken to already is pretty much where our stance is. We've had a couple of emails back and forth, and I think we're getting pretty close to being on the same page. So there you go. And I talked to somebody at the EPA and FEMA, and the only thing that they were saying was that you might need some kind of a flood permit for the property when it gets rezoned. I don't know if they had looked into that or not. Oh, but you can't answer questions. So those are my two comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else like to speak to this topic? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that the board recommends approval of the zoning of 109 County Road 69, finding that the application complies with the standards contained in Lions Municipal Code 1540 regarding the rezoning of 109 County Road 69.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Discussion?
I have no other comments beyond the first reading.
Okay. Can you address the floodplain from a floodplain administrator
Yeah,
perspective?
I'm not sure what Mr. DRC was referring to, other than if we were to develop something on the parcel, it would require a floodplain development permit. But if it is a unpaved social trail, you know, we may still fill one out, but because it's not an improvement or increase in the grade, it would probably be improved.
Mhm.
But certainly we'll follow our floodplain ordinance regarding development in floodplains.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments? Okay, then I will call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Deputy Clerk Marquez Rubio, would you please read consent agenda into the record?
We have resolution 2023-46, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, accepting the 2022 audit and financial statement. Resolution 2023-47, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a second amendment to the professional service agreement with Harrox Engineering for the St. Brain Trail design. Resolution 2023-48, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a professional service agreement with Melinda Wander for public art sponsorship. Resolution 2023-49, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, accepting a legacy art piece entitled Venancio 6 by Stephen Uru. Resolution 2023-50, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a 2023 budget amendment. Resolution 2023-51, a resolution of the town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a second amendment to the 2022 professional service agreement with Denver Metro Security Inc. for Lyons area parks. July 5th, 2023, regular Board of Trustees meeting minutes, and July accounts payable.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anything anyone would like to pull from consent? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'd like to pull resolution 23-48, please.
Thank you. That's the professional services agreement with Melinda Wonder.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's vote on consent as amended.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'd like to make some suggestions for changes. There is a typo in the headline, project services name, where Melinda Wonder's last name is spelled incorrectly. So I'd like to make a motion to correct the spelling of her last name to Wunder.
Mayor Pro Tem, is that in the scope of work or what document is that in? Sorry.
It's a, yes,
Yes,
in the
Okay.
resolution.
in the resolution.
In the resolution. Okay. I mean, we can probably do that as an errata item.
Okay.
Okay,
Without
There's one.
amendment, if that's okay with you.
that's fine. There is one more, and you
Okay.
can advise which way to go. It sounds like it needs to be billed every 2 months, not 90 days as stated. Should that be an amendment?
That one should be an amendment as it's substantive.
Okay, so I move to adjust the billing time to every 2 months rather than 90 days as stated.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, in that case, I guess now it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I move to pass resolution 23-48, a resolution of the Town of Lyons, Colorado, approving a professional service agreement with Melinda Wonder, DBA Creative Conventions and Events.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next up we have boards and commissions. LAHC was going to speak tonight, but I don't see anyone from Arts and Humanities here. Okay,
So, yes, we will have to see if they are wanting to be at your next meeting instead.
okay, we'll do that. All right, so next up is general business, and the first item is an update from Moss Rock on the proposed hotel at 349 Main Street.
Here or here, whichever you're more comfortable.
We have Moss Rock here.
Wherever you like.
Wherever you like.
So if you see me, that's okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm your Oregon trustees. Glad to give you an update.
Would you mind stating your name just for the minutes?
Agnès Giraud, representing Moss Rock Development LLC.
Thank you.
So since the last time we talked with you, and we were on Zoom, we've made progress on certain things and we are working on others. So we've made progress on, let me stay back. We were working, our next step is to get equity funding and debt funding in order to trigger the next phase of the project. We've done all the re-engineering to reduce the cost as much as we can. We've got the contract done with Marriott on the brand as a tribute, as we explained last time. We thank you for the TIF contract, which is important. We've done the mechanical engineering and I spare you the detail, taking into account the feedback we had from the town. The people and the town administrator and you all. And we are back going to raise capital and getting funded. We got good feedback from the banks. Unfortunately, as you've seen, and we told you 3 months ago, we were waiting for the interest rates to stabilize or go down. And unfortunately, as you've seen, the Fed the last 3 months has continued to increase interest rate. So we are off from a cost perspective by a few points, which makes the capital raising difficult because the project is just on the edge.
The good thing is we've got a banker lined up, so now it's a question of getting the right investors and changing, and please forgive me or ask questions, the ratio of debt to capital to make a project more efficient. That's where we are. We've got different, I shouldn't say targets, different potential investors in the hospitality market. It's a very specific market that is always the first one to freeze. So last year it was the first one to freeze. Building developments and commercial development freeze after hospitality. So first one to freeze, likely not the last one, but because everybody's waiting. So we're still in this in between phase with good discussions going on. Unfortunately, if I were you, I would say, okay, nice, good talk, but when? If I knew the date, I would tell we are. If I were you, I would say, okay, what is the probability for you to do it? We are committed to make this happen. Okay, so it's not a question if, it's when and how. From all the contacts we've had, not only in Colorado, but a lot on the East Coast. Now we're going also West Coast. Everything froze at the end of September last year, and unless the projects were approved before, investment in hospitalities had been frozen. So it's not a Moss Rock issue or a Lions issue. It's an industry cycle issue, which means we can't control it. I would rather be our issue, because then I would know how to address it. It's really an industry cycle. So we are working diligently, and we're not, it's one step at a time. That's the short version of it. We are still, hope is not a strategy. I always say that. I still hope, even if it's not my strategy. And we are both working diligently to try to keep the momentum. We had calls last week. We've got calls this week. But it's cyclical. There's no other way to explain it. And we're from here, so we're going to do what it takes to make it happen. That's my short version of the update. Edna, did I forget anything?
Not quite as optimistic.
I'm trying to be factual.
No, the French.
I try to be factual. There's a commitment to make it happen, but there's the reality of the economy, and I can't change the economy.
Well, thank you very much. Questions for Moss Rock?
So people who work in that world, do they have a looking glass through which they look that says it picks back up in September?
That's what I hear.
Okay.
I hear with what the numbers from last week and the Fed's reaction.
Yeah.
If July is stable and August is stable or down, then everybody is thinking September, October should go back.
Okay.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for Victoria. So we still have the Broadway project at some point, right?
Yes, oh yeah, they started, they were here last year.
And we certainly don't want to do these at the same time, although it doesn't seem like that's going to be an issue. But we are still going to be able to use your land as the loading for the Broadway project?
It's all in our right of way.
Okay,
If
So-
you needed to. Yeah,
okay,
Everything for the Broadway project will be in the town right of way.
okay, all right, okay.
Trustee Elson, do you have any questions?
Well, actually, I'm one curious.
Yeah.
So with the delays, how does that impact the tip? Potentially,
Great question.
Because you're aware that the TIP agreement states that construction must start by December 31st. So I guess the request would be is if the projections from the hospitality industry are correct and things do shift in September or October, do you still feel you might be able to start by December, something to trigger that? Or do you think you might be coming back to the Urban Renewal Authority for an extension?
I really would not like to.
Okay.
Let me be clear. So we're doing everything we can so we don't have to. So assuming the hospitality and the economy starts back and we can get the funding secured, the first thing we would do is demo the Moxie building. So if we consider it's the first step of the project, then we would be on time. Okay, because that's the first step, and the minute we know we've got the funding line, we'll trigger it. Because today we don't want to trigger it to get more land empty, okay? If we can't get the funding on time, we'll have to come back to you. That's not our goal.
But Cassie, we only have one person taken out of the general tip, right?
We do.
And that is on hold as well, right? Kind of.
He started, yeah, the car wash.
Yeah.
Okay, so that started. I mean, so basically the delay of this is gonna affect the general tip more than anything else.
Sure.
Okay, just as long as they know that.
Yeah, and I think that when we went over that agreement, that was a risk that they were aware
They
of,
were
because
aware.
we did various what if scenarios.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you.
I do have a question, and it's something that a couple community members brought up to me about whether you might be open to having temporary art exhibits on the fence along Main Street to add some beautification, some opportunity for expression.
We should talk about it, the same way we were approached for the art district to use the building, and we said, we're open to it. So
Okay.
we should talk.
Okay, we'll have the the Arts and Humanities Commission
Yeah.
reach out to you for that.
Yes, that would be
Okay.
great.
Okay, great.
If we can help in any way, we would.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the update. Appreciate you coming down in person. It's nice to see you both.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll all keep our fingers crossed that the feds do the thing that we want the feds to do.
Every day.
Every day. Isn't that the truth? Okay. So next up is discussion and direction on combining the audit and budget committees or doing something different. We had a workshop earlier. We talked about the budget and audit committees. So what are people's thoughts? Would you like to start?
I think we should continue the discussion of the audit. The audit committee makes sense to me. I was overwhelmed by the audit, definitely out of my core competency. Having more people on our eyeballs on that, I think is a great idea. I would kill the budget one. I think it should go back to the committees as it is. I don't see why you have a separate entity outside of the committees playing some role in the budget. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I share similar thoughts. I know a nonprofit audit, and when I was going through that today, it's like, this is not a nonprofit audit. It is so different. So having somebody who's aware of what government audits are supposed to be looking like, that would be marvelous. The budget committee to me feels completely extraneous. Because we already have all the commissions weighing in, and the board and the staff, and it does not feel to me like something that needs to continue in existence. We'd like to wait a while before we make a decision, just gotta let it settle, to disband that. Of course, it doesn't, currently it's not operating, but you know, I don't feel like we have to do it tonight, but I also would have no interest in moving ahead on that one. Budget, or audit committee, for sure, absolutely.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I'm gonna counter a little bit or raise a question. From the commission standpoint, I believe we only have two commissions that actually have budgets. Is that correct? Arts and Humanities and Parks and Rec.
No, they cannot.
But currently, what other commissions besides those two actually have a budget?
I believe most of them, they might be things that help support the actual commission, like training or I'm thinking of the weed booklets and things like that.
Or they go to conferences?
Okay.
Conferences,
Yeah.
memberships, things like that.
So-
There's several with very small budgets, but They're not, I think what you're referring to is maybe the commissions that might have a separate financial financial documentation of expenses and revenues.
Right, like the Arts and Humanities Commission
Yeah.
definitely does, and so that's why I was thinking, well, I don't remember Sustainable Futures necessarily having something like that.
Well, they don't have their own little operating budget, but they have the opportunity to weigh in and say, I think we need to budget for.
I see
this.
the difference.
Yeah, so think of Parks and Rec, they, they're the
Definitely.
skate park, the bike park, all those
Right.
types of things, they're submitting those types of projects to, that kind of fit within their realm of their responsibilities, and all of the commissions are definitely, able to do that as well. I think the UEB often follows more along the staff line with those type of capital projects, but all commissions are given the opportunity to make requests, to weigh in, to prioritize, and then the board sees those at the workshop, they take them into consideration. that
Okay.
type of stuff.
So I'd like some clarification from the workshop then, or just a little bit more reiteration. In your personal opinion, you're feeling that there was enough community engagement through the commissions that support you versus a need for this to have its own commission?
I believe that the commissions plus an added component of community outreach via, a form that's, submit your budget wishes, what would you like to see in the next year's budget? What would you like to see the board, have an opportunity to look at? So in addition to just really getting out there with the community outreach with all of our communication channels, encouraging people to fill out that form that will be created, that really should be looked at ahead of time so that you all have the chance to consider those wishes, those hopes, the requests, to figure out where they prioritize as a whole, staff as well. So in addition to the commissions, I believe we need a better public outreach component, which would include that type of form and encouraging people to speak during audience business up into the public hearing for budget adoption.
Do you think that's something that you want to implement this year?
Yes,
Oh, okay, and you feel like you have time?
I do. I think with Kim's help in the communication, I think it really would just be for the first year, we start simple, we do a form, we add components of what, come talk it during audience business and just simple things like that. Keep it simple at first, learn from, how we can do it. And then a lot of times those forms just compile it right into a spreadsheet. I clean it up, I hand it all, submit it to you guys, and then we can discuss.
Okay, so was this passed as a resolution then? Or
Direct us to bring forward a resolution, either modifying or amending or disbanding.
They're not in the boards and commissions ordinance, are they? I'm just,
No.
No,
Okay.
they're their own resolution as a committee.
okay, yeah, if you see another resolution, unless you want to make them a permanent standing one, then we could bake them into the ordinance, boards, commissions ordinance if you want.
And it's an ordinance versus just a committee that's able to be changed by future boards.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Elson?
I agree. I think we need the audit group. The other one doesn't seem like it adds value, it adds noise to me. Where I love the idea of getting like a suggestion box from the town.
Surveys.
Surveys, yeah,
A website
something, yeah.
page.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I do too. Boy, I totally agree that if we could find qualified folks to be on the audit committee, that would be amazing. If we could, I don't even know how to start to recruit for that, but let's think about how to recruit for that. And so I think we're all in agreement that we do want to keep the audit committee. I think we should find some good folks to serve on it. And then I'm gonna say, my suggestion is to direct staff to draft resolution eliminating the budget committee. And for staff to go ahead and do the community outreach. Trustee Williams, is that
Yes,
your
that's
wish?
good.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, trustee reports, Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to go first?
Sure. So, I don't have a ton to report because the PCDC met in executive session last week. The discussion was the, sorry, all I can think of is URA, the IGA. It was extremely good. They had really good, interesting thoughts and discussions that I won't be able to speak about because it was executive session, but will be coming forward for our executive session at the end of July. So, but
First of all.
was it first of August now?
It's July 31st.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. We did get it from.
So I just, I was really impressed with them as a whole. They did great, considering everything. Okay, so there's that. And then my only question is, I had, not to put you on the spot, Victoria, but at one point sent to you the priorities list from Ted. I tried to look at it on my computer and my eyes went like this because it's so small of a screen.
I have readable printouts for you.
Oh, good. So perhaps that's something that we can maybe put into a near future agenda. Because I do think even though we are on the last half of the year and going to be going into next year, I think it might still be really important to use as a one, it would be interesting to keep it in mind as we're doing budgets. And the other thing is that I think it can set the stage of our intentions for early next year and the new board that would be coming in, because next year is an election year already. It's crazy.
I know.
That was all I had.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Williams?
Historic Preservation Committee meets Wednesday night. I have nothing else.
The UAB meets Wednesday night. They did not meet 2 weeks ago, so I have nothing to report, but I was gonna ask. Last board meeting, we did have a slide deck on time of use electric rates. The gentleman couldn't show up.
Share resources.
Yeah, is that gonna come back onto the agenda at some point?
I believe they were looking at the second meeting in August because he was gonna finalize everything by the 12th. And so it just misses your first meeting.
Okay,
So I, right now it's on as August 24th. What's the date?
okay. Well,
21st.
August, figure that week, so that's, okay, all right, I don't have anything else.
Thanks for following up on that. Trustee Olson?
SFC meets Thursday night, so there. I'm sorry. No, the SFC met last week. The EAB meets Thursday night. Sorry, two similar. SFC, they're getting excited for the annual tour. It's happening August 1st, along with the UAB is going. It looks like there's 10 people. That's the max that can go, that the company can handle the tour. So they're all excited about going there. So they decided that every meeting, they're gonna include a review of their goals. So yeah, that way they always have topics to focus on and to keep their agenda towards their goals.
Great.
So looking at that, something that we just implemented the last meeting, so they're working on that. So they're reviewing all their goals to make sure that their items are updated with the status and actions needed owners and drivers. I think that's the highlights. Yeah,
Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have a number of things. So the elections are coming up and it is time to consider whether there are any ballot measures we would like to include in the coordinated election. Totally fine to not have any ballot measures, but this is our opportunity if we wanted a ballot measure to include one. So just give it some thought. And if there is one that you would like to include, just let me know and we'll talk about how that moves forward. So I had a really interesting conversation with a guy named Beck Taylor who owns a company called Godot Creative. And Godot Creative was engaged by Boulder County Public Health to do these interactive art public art projects that address vaccine hesitancy, not just COVID vaccines, but vaccine hesitancy in general. So far, they are putting one in Longmont, which is an old fashioned phone booth that when you walk by it, it rings and you pick it up and it has a message for you. And then in Netherlands, they're doing this big cube that's a terrarium with like little elven figures inside. And the terrarium needs to be watered every day or it dies. And so there's a big button on it that encourages people to press the button to water the terrarium. And it's all about how, we care for each other. So Boulder County Public Health would like to pay for a similar installation in Lyons. So what I'm looking for is general agreement that we think that that's a good idea. And if we get that agreement, then we can direct staff to work with Beck and the folks at Boulder County Public Health to move that forward. Thoughts?
So Julissa Soto works with the State Public Health Commission, and they've gotten 24,000 Spanish-speaking residents vaccinated, discovered that that population has no difficulty. They are not resistant. They just need creative ways to approach it. So their piñatas are shaped like COVID, and the sticks they hit it with are syringes. All the people giving the shots dress up as superheroes or Disney princesses. I mean, if it works, do it. Yeah, I mean, this, yeah, marvelous. It's great. Let's do it.
Okay. Here for 10?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, yeah.
Okay. Administrator Simonson, I'll put you in touch with Beck and the Boulder County Public Health people. I went to the inauguration of Mayor Johnston this morning in Denver, and that was an absolute hoot. And our swearings in here are great in the town hall plaza, but the other mayors I was sitting with and we were kind of giggling at the difference in scale. We'll put it that way. So the big inauguration party is tonight, but I decided I would rather be here with you all. Oh, thank you. And so I met with the Mayor's Innovation Project. We have a quarterly meeting, and they included the mayor of St. Louis, Missouri, which was great. And the topic was council staff relations. And after talking to all those people, I'm just so grateful for the working relationships that we have here. It's really remarkable. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about was the potential mural on Town Hall. I want to give the board and the public a little bit more context. So when the LAHC met, we talked about the mural and we were informed that Android Jones was not interested in doing the mural, and had a discussion, the commission had a discussion about, do we accept this donation from CMX, $5,000 donation, and maybe use it for something else. And then come to find out that that isn't actually the case, that Android actually does want to work on this mural. So there's been a bit of confusion, a bit of back and forth. What I'm hoping is that at some point it'll come back before the board and we can formally say yes or no to the mural.
You could even certainly give that direction tonight, since you were at the meeting, if there, or you want to discuss, are you interested in seeing the draft of it? Sketches, whichever, but that would save us 2 weeks. Yeah. If the board is interested in the north side, having an additional mural by Android Jones and bring back the proposed.
And some ideas that I heard of, and I haven't obviously talked to Android about this, but one idea I heard was, let's put a bear on that side that's kind of pointing around the corner to the bigger mural to sort of lead people's eye. And so I'm not sure that, I don't know what he envisions, but my impression is that it's not a full scale mural like we have out there. So should we, what do you think? Should we go ahead and? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We'll save some time.
We'll save some time. That's terrific.
If I can add one more thing, while you're
Yes.
signature next to this. Got
Please.
stuck in my memory. If any or all of you have not seen it, the Atlantic article in July, August, Colorado's ingenious idea for solving the housing crisis. It's a long article. And upon reading it, I'm still very convinced it should be in our hands, not the governor's. But it's a good read for people who think it should be a state issue. And it really is in support of it being a state issue. But it was not at all convincing. It's worth reading.
Thank you. Maybe you could send it
Yeah,
to
you
the
send it?
deputy clerk to
Yeah.
have it,
Yeah.
I think, or send it around. Thank you very much. Okay, that was all I had. Legal update, Attorney Dittman?
Yeah, just one quick update on the Honeywell matter without getting into too much details. I will say that all but one party has had the money deposited in JAG's accounts at this point. The last party to the settlement says they sent in a check. The judge confirmed today that they have not received that check. But I'm really hoping in the next couple of days that we'll be, finally done with this matter. So I just want to give you that quick update.
Thank you. And once that check clears, assuming that it will, then what's the timeline for having the funds transferred to the town?
Next day.
Next day. Okay. Great.
So, hopefully by the next meeting, we can finally say that the deed is done, for good. But
Great.
Um,
We'll
we're-
have some sparkling cider or something.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, summary of action items, please.
Were you prepared for that? No. Okay,
Oh,
I can do that.
okay.
The first item will be making an amendment to the management letter to reflect water sewer funds, not electric funds, in the one note. Adjusting Melinda Wonder's scope of service and name spelling. Bringing forward a resolution to eliminate the budget committee for consideration by the board. Adding Tierra resources to the agenda at the nearest opportunity. And working with Boulder County Public Health and on a public display regarding vaccine awareness. And that's all.
Keep this set up. This sounds really good. With the speaker right here as opposed to that big speaker.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just use the
That's
alt
true.
here
Yeah.
really well.
yeah. Okay, and then I would just add, if anybody has any potential ballot measures they want to discuss,
Yes, thank
um,
you.
email them to Victoria. How about,
I do have a
So that
question.
we can add it to the agenda.
yeah,
Have you heard of anybody having any kind of a ballot interest issue?
I haven't yet. It's probably on the clerk's listserv, and
Okay.
Dolores has been out, but she'll be back this week. So
Are we talking
My-
about, oh, sorry, we're talking about statewide ballot initiatives, Mayor Pro Tem?
no, local.
Local? Yeah. And there's always, tax tabor issues that you're gonna see, but there's nothing I can think of that I've heard people are doing like en masse in terms of a local ballot initiative. I mean, there's definitely some state ones you'll be seeing, but
anything else? I missed?
No, but it does raise the one question. I'm sorry that I'm sort of bringing this up at this point. In the workshop, we talked about an adjustment list. Are you going to bring that back to us? There were some 3 options you had discussed. Should I say something now to add
For the
it?
projects?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we could have either pulled the current amendment from consent, but because we didn't, we would have to now do it as a separate resolution or wait to the end of the year.
Right, well, we can definitely get the direction, yes, this is something I think we need to prioritize and move forward with. And then we just include it in another amendment
At the end of the year.
Okay.
So would you like me to add, would you like us to add, and there's plenty of room on the August 7th agenda, if you would like to have discussion direction regarding additional budget amendments?
I think because it wasn't on this agenda and we didn't pull it from consent, let's just put it on the August 7th agenda.
Yes, because I also felt like I need more information.
Thanks for raising that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Each one of those was pretty compelling, frankly.
yeah,
Deciding which ones. and
Sure.
whether we just have to-
Well, I would anticipate then we will add the electric undergrounding, the potential for curb and gutter on Railroad and the high school, safety crossing as potential discussion.
great. See, that agenda's getting beefed up already.
We knew it would.
Yeah,
It always does.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second,
Second.
any discussion? No.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, everybody. 7:59.
That's a record, I think. That's a record.
All right, well, okay, I want to rate the meeting. How do we think the meeting went?
And then.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Brandon.
Good night, Brandon.
Thank you.
We agreed to that.
I know, we agreed to much.
Go about it that way. Okay.
I don't know, we're efficient.
Did you get the?
I know, I kind of feel